Work creeping into your personal time? Billy products can turn your daily shower into a digital detox. Nourishing Body Wash can refresh your skin while you mentally refresh your resume. A full body shave with Billy's award-winning razor will help you visualize things going smoother tomorrow. And Quick Absorbing Body Lotion can hydrate faster than you can say, let's circle back on Monday. You've got your reasons. Billy's got your routine. Shop in store and at mybilly.com.
Any vehicle can take you places, but why stop there? The Alfa Romeo Tonale combines luxurious Italian design and electrifying performance to make every mile a masterpiece and every arrival unforgettable. When precision meets instinct and power moves with purpose, you never have to stay in a lane. Experience a world without limits in the Alfa Romeo Tonale plug-in hybrid. Tap the banner to learn more. Alfa Romeo is a registered trademark of FCA Group Marketing SPA, used with permission.
Hey, I'm Candice Lim.
And I'm Kate Lindsay. And you're listening to ICYMI.
In case you missed it.
Slate's podcast about internet culture. And we have a special guest today. Joining us is Slate Senior Culture Editor Jenny G. Zhang. Hello, Jenny.
Hi, great to be here.
Great to have you. And the thing is, Jenny, this is not your first time on ICYMI, but this is the first time we're about to ask you the question, what is your first internet memory?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this since you told me you would be asking me this. I feel like I have a lot of internet memories, but the one that came to me most clearly with this prompt is, do you guys know the website GoGaia.com or Gaia Online?
No.
It was essentially, I guess, like one of those mass online role-playing game websites / like forums. It was like one of those early ones.
Yeah.
And I was just like really obsessed with them for some reason. I was on there all the time.
So when you would go on, what would you do?
I mean, there's so many things. You had like an avatar. They have like all these items you can dress up your avatar in like these custom clothes and like hats and accessories. And they would even take like cold hard cash. You could mail them cold hard cash to get like Gaia bucks or Gaia coins or whatever their local currency was. And I actually did this. As like a child, I would put little bits of my, I don't know, savings in an envelope and ship it off to this place.
Snail mail? This is so crazy.
It was very old school. So I got a lot of really fly and like hip digital pixelated clothes, I gotta say.
Nice.
That's so funny. Well, I want to throw out another question into the mix today because this is something I just truly cannot stop thinking about. I assume we've heard about the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg, ending up in a group chat with J.D. Vance and various others to essentially war plan. You know, we won't get into all the politics of it, but I mean, there's so much about it that I love. Now that I've seen this, I'm like, what other huge events in American history had an emoji involved with them?
Yeah, like the prayer hands, the punch.
Right, the prayer hands. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers and insane. I love it.
Yeah, well, I feel like this is such good journalism, T, but it did inspire kind of a question within me, which is, what group chat would you die to be added to accidentally? Because I can go first. For me, I would pay millions to be in the Jennifer Lopez, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner blended family group chat, like before the press knew that J-Lo and Ben were getting back together, but after TMZ had shot photos of them. Because I would just love to see them introduce it and Jen Garner pretty much be an emoji queen being like, yes, blessed, yeah. You know, what about you, Kate?
I was thinking about this and I was really grasping at straws to come up with an answer that wasn't, once again, about Luigi Mangione. But I want to be in the group chat of people who, not when we knew who he was, but when the first pictures, like security footage was being released, I want to be in the group chat where someone kind of started it and went, wait, this isn't Luigi, is our Luigi. Yeah. You know, there's people who saw that and were like, that kind of looks like this person I know. I want to be in that group chat.
Yeah.
What about you, Jenny?
this is probably just because I have the White Lotus on my mind, but I would love to be in Mike White's just like bitchiest group chat ever. And
Yes.
I assume that he has multiple of these just from what I surmise about him. But yeah, maybe him and these kind of older, fabulous actresses he keeps digging up for these roles, or maybe him and his Survivor friends, and just like, I would just love to witness that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? That actually makes me think. I've done my sort of IRL option, the fictional one I would want. I would want to be in the group chat of the 3 women on the
Oh,
trip.
my God.
Oh, I would love it.
So many hearts, so many like the smiles with the outstretched hand kind of emoji.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Oh my God. I mean, look, group chats are great, but we are actually here to talk about a piece you, Jenny, wrote on your Substack Annotations. And it's about an influencer who made content about his 9-to-5 only to become so successful, he quit.
And now this man is creating kind of fake 9-to-5 content, even though he doesn't work one anymore, but he's doing it in order to appease his followers. We'll dive into the whole thing, but first, let's take a break. When we come back, Jenny will introduce us to Hub's life, and later we'll talk about what she calls social media's relatability trap and how other creators have found themselves in the same predicament.
Maybe you like keeping your money where you can see it. Unfortunately, big wireless carriers like keeping your money too. If you're fed up with crazy high bills, bogus fees, and quote-unquote free perks that cost more in the long run, switch to Mint Mobile. I have been on Mint Mobile's unlimited plan, and I really, really like it as a product and service. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone and bring your number along with your contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/ICYMI. That's mintmobile.com/ICYMI. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 month, 5 gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Oh, ICYMI listeners, do I have a scoop for you? So what is it, you ask? It's that Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Now, before anyone goes suggesting that this is just a rumor, know that there's actual proof that this kettle of tea is not only piping hot, but 100% true. So, yeah, sometimes it pays to be a little nosy, but it always pays to discover. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/creditcard. And we're back. And Jenny, I think it's time for us to meet Hub's life, aka Connor Hubbard. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So I will refer to him as Hubs because I actually did not know his full name until you enlightened me early today. So thank you. So Hubs, he is 30 years old. He lives in Texas. Up until about a month and a half ago, he was, I believe, a senior benefits analyst at a Fortune 500 company, in his own words. He kind of rose to fame on TikTok, making 9-to-5 videos about his daily life, you know, what his job was like, just going through the motions in this corporate setting and then heading home, all this kind of thing. So that's his sort of claim to fame. And he also says he's like one of the first ones to sort of popularize this kind of content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think I remember his videos popping up on my timeline, actually on Twitter. And this is how you know a TikTok is about to get crazy hate, when someone takes the TikTok posted on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do not want your TikTok on Twitter.
Right. And I saw it on my timeline because, look, these videos, They're kind of depressing. There's no talking. Everything is time-stamped. It's just Hubbard going about a really basic day set to kind of dreary music, but a lot of people on Twitter were saying his day in the life seems really depressing.
Yeah. And I'd love to actually play his most popular video. It has over 20 million views. And Jenny, why don't you just walk us through what's happening here?
All right, so Hubs is in his bathroom mirror. He's sucking on, I think, an inhaler, and then he's putting his laptop in his backpack very slowly. This is like a classic move. He's walking to work, he's going up the elevator, he's in his cubicle, he's getting ready for his day, opening his laptop, type, more type, gets a 1-hour lunch break, back down the elevator, goes home for his lunch break, plays with his dog. That's very nice. Let's see, he's warming up a microwave lunch. Yummy. His dog's looking at him from a couch with, I think, an Hermes blanket over it.
Ooh.
That may be real or not real. Who can tell? Now he's going on his way back to the office. He's settling back in, working until 4:20. He's putting his laptop back in. He's checking out for the day, and that is his work day. Now he's going to get his car looked at. Don't buy a Jeep, he says. All right, thank you. He's getting home at 5. He is getting ready to work out. He's working out in his garage, doing some push-ups, some sit-ups. He's doing a protein shake now, taking his dog for another walk. What else is he gonna do? He's still walking. Breaking down some boxes. Yeah, that's a lot of boxes. He's drinking some water. He's preparing dinner while watching some TV and editing this video, apparently. And then he's settling down, watching TV and eating his dinner. It feels like that took a million years to describe what was actually just like a minute and 30 seconds of a daily routine, but that is a typical day in the life 9 to 5 video of his.
I was going to say, when you put it in words, he actually does a lot. That was a pretty busy day.
Yeah, not slacking off at all.
Yeah, it's funny because he does so much. I guess we could use the word productive. He had a productive day. But the other thing is, I've seen this video before, and I kind of remember before pressing play, I felt like it was very predictable. Yes, he's going to shower. Yes, he's going to have a new outfit. Yes, he's going to go to dinner, all these things. And yet, people find things to hate about it. And despite the eeriness of it all, Jenny, why do you think people enjoy his content?
Well, there's something really relaxing about it. You can totally turn off your brain. Like, it doesn't require any cognitive effort on your own part. There's also kind of a inherent nosiness or curiosity that it satisfies. Like, we love always peeking through people's curtains, taking a look at, like, what other people's lives are like. How does my life stack up to theirs? Yeah. And then I think there's also an appeal to it because this is just like a very normal guy, a very normal routine and normal life. And it's actually sort of refreshing to watch something like this as opposed to something like that's totally glammed up or like a celebrity's life or a super rich person. Like those are all kind of their own subgenres in and of itself. And there's definitely like reasons to watch those kind of videos as well. But this has its own place, I think, in this budding culture of like online video.
Yeah. And obviously some people are making fun of it, but others seem to really appreciate just seeing someone live a life that looks like theirs. Like, this is what most people's days look like. One of the comments is someone saying, rather peaceful, to be honest, stability and a comfortable life. It's a pretty harsh contrast, though, to how I feel men usually tend to post online.
And I think it's totally different from another male creator's video that went mega viral recently. Have you guys seen this? It's this guy who is like crazy jacked. He is trying to be Mark Wahlberg without Mark Wahlberg's job. And his whole thing is his morning routine is like, wake up at 3 to 4 a.m., dunk my face in ice water twice during the day. Obviously, it's only Saratoga water, very Top Chef coded. And he's like journaling with the Bible. And it's just like all portrayed as hard, requiring discipline. Once again, obviously workout is part of it. But it's like, is this relatable? I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see the original video, but I saw tons of parodies. And that's how I knew this video was floating around. And then I had to kind of seek it out after a while. There's a spectrum of male content creation. It's like those types of really aspirational, really muscly, really diligent, dedicated videos are on one end, and I would say that Connor's stuff is on the other. Like, it's a lot more laid back. It's a lot more, I would not even say like how women post days in the life, but it's neutral. It's neutral content. And I actually sort of asked Connor about this back when I interviewed him for GQ about his choice to post content we don't normally see from men. He said, I think most of the world is working. They have to work for a living. They can't all be influencers, which is ironic considering Jenny. Tell us what happened next.
Yeah, like we mentioned up at the top, about a month or a month and a half ago, he started posting, his regular 9 to 5 videos, but there were captions that basically said, like, he had quit his job. This is his last day. He's starting, like, a new adventure. And the new thing turned out to be working for himself, as he put it, or essentially pivoting to content creation and influencing full-time.
Yeah. And it's funny, again, because back in that interview for GQ, I kind of asked that question. Like, he did do content creating before, so this isn't totally out of left field. But I asked, like, now that these videos are successful, would you ever consider going back to just working for yourself? And this is what he said. I get that question all the time. No, because I've tried it before. When the hobby became a job, it was not as fun. I really do believe and appreciate the stability of my job and like just having a job and building practical resume experience because we don't know what's going to happen with social media. I'd rather build a sustainable career and do this for fun.
It's really funny though, Kate, because I really feel like past you set you up for this episode
Oh my God,
bring
I
back
know.
this quote, and I'm like, good job on you. But it does beg the question, like, what do we think changed between that Connor and the one we're seeing now?
Yeah, like less than a year's difference. Obviously, we don't really know what's going on in someone's intimate personal life, but I do feel like every person who is making content on the side or doing some kind of side hustle, whether they're like freelance writing or trying to do songwriting or busking on the street or whatever, they ultimately, in their heart of hearts, probably still carry this tiny dream of like, well, one day, wouldn't it be cool if I could actually just do this? And like finally, the man, the corporate job, the 9 to 5, like all that stuff, it comes with stability. Yes, it also comes with its own like stressors and burnout and all of that. And so I think maybe the growth of his account, the economics of it from whatever he may have been making from this account, maybe it seemed like he finally had a decent chance to actually take a risk. And so maybe then he just decided, like, let's do it. Like, you only live once, but might as well.
Yeah. And actually, Candice, you said something interesting that I didn't know as we were researching, but this is kind of recent. Connor's a dad.
Yeah. So the breaking news is that literally minutes before I hopped on my morning meeting call with Kate, I go on this guy's TikTok. He's a new dad, okay? And not only that, he has been posting videos with the caption of like, I'm a stay-at-home dad now. And I mean, it's just kind of interesting because he didn't really talk about that part of his life before. And maybe there's something there about the way that like a lot of female influencers have been able to kind of create an influencer economy around their pregnancy, the process, this like kind of lead up, this almost soft launch into the hard launch of like, I'm a mommy blogger now. And he has essentially hard launched into I'm a daddy blogger now, which is crazy. But yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, he's clearly sort of making a pivot, but the problem is, as Jenny, you wrote about, his audience is not loving it.
Yeah, it's been really, honestly, funny. I mean, I feel for the guy in some way, but it's been also funny to open his comments on like any video, and probably like half of them and many of the top voted ones you'll see are basically people ragging on him, calling him a sellout, saying, you preached about how good a 9 to 5 was or how we didn't need to like become influencers, whatever. And now look at you, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, you betrayed us. All kinds of hurt feelings ranging from kind of the more trollish, ironic type of tone to people who seem genuinely very hurt and betrayed that he decided to quit his 9 to 5.
Yeah. And now, perhaps in response to that, he's been doing some interesting things to try and stay that relatable person they all initially followed. But before we get into that, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about why Hub's Life's unconventional attempt at rebranding might fall flat for some viewers, and what has happened to other creators who tried to take the same leap.
This episode is brought to you by Saks Fifth Avenue. Shopping at Saks is the perfect way to discover the latest styles, elevate your everyday look, and refresh your wardrobe just in time for spring. At Saks, you'll find inspiration for every occasion, from casual outfits to special events. My favorite thing to do in my off time is to go online shopping, and I cannot recommend the Saks.com experience enough. They have so many of my wishlist brands on the website, from Amina Muaddi shoes to Alice and Olivia dresses. And it's spring, which means wedding season is starting up. Saks inspires me to discover looks for anything and everything on my agenda, from destination wedding dresses to shoes that can last the whole weekend. Whether you're refreshing your entire wardrobe or shopping for a vacation, Saks makes it fun and easy. So, if you're looking for a fun, effortless shopping experience and want to elevate your personal style, head to Saks. That's Saks.com for everyday inspiration. This episode is brought to you by Saks Fifth Avenue. Shopping at Saks is the perfect way to discover the latest styles, elevate your everyday look, and refresh your wardrobe just in time for spring. At Saks, you'll find inspiration for every occasion, from casual outfits to special events. My favorite thing to do in my off time is to go online shopping, and I cannot recommend the Saks.com experience enough. They have so many of my wishlist brands on the website, from Amina Muaddi shoes to Alice and Olivia dresses. And it's spring, which means wedding season is starting up. Saks inspires me to discover looks for anything and everything on my agenda, from destination wedding dresses to shoes that can last the whole weekend. Whether you're refreshing your entire wardrobe or shopping for a vacation, Saks makes it fun and easy. So, if you're looking for a fun, effortless shopping experience and want to elevate your personal style, head to Saks. That's Saks.com for everyday inspiration. Listen to Sunrise on the Reaping, the highly anticipated new audiobook in the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins on Audible. Hear Jefferson White narrate the story of the legendary survivor, young Haymitch Abernathy. Revisit the world of Panem, 24 years before the original Hunger Games series. As the day dawns on the 50th annual Hunger Games, fear grips the districts of Panem. This year, in honor of the Quarter Quell, twice as many tributes will be taken from their homes. I'm so excited for this story because I've been a big Hunger Games fan since the first trilogy came out. I remember being in middle school, absolutely staying up all night to get through the trilogy. And this relationship has stuck with me through adulthood, and it's going to continue with the Sunrise on the Reaping because I will take any excuse to dive back into the world of Panem. Whether you're a passionate fan or just starting your journey, venture to District 12 and hear the story the world's been waiting for. Welcome to the 50th Hunger Games. Experience the worldwide best-selling series in a whole new way. Go to audible.com/sunrise and listen with the world.
Hey there! Just wanted to pop in and ask that if you're a regular listener who enjoys ICYMI, it would mean the world if you gave us a 5-star rating or review on Apple or Spotify. Every episode of ICYMI is different, from exploring the TikTokification of sports to taking deep dives into the drama within online fandoms. Sometimes, though, that means our episodes can become part of those stories, resulting in negative reviews from people who aren't actually listeners. Ratings and reviews are an important part of growing ICYMI and making sure it succeeds, which is why we need the real heads to be represented in the feedback. If that's you, it would be great if you could show us some love. Now, back to today's episode.
And we're back. So, Connor Hubbard quits his 9-to-5, and now all of his usual content, which involved commuting, packing his work bag, and other things you need a job for, is not available to him. But Jenny, as you wrote about, those slow laptop videos have not stopped.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like, immediately after he quit his job, he basically tried to continue with the same type of 9-to-5 content. Only this time, he was going to what looks like a WeWork. So essentially his own, like, little recreation of the corporate office for himself. And a lot of people seem confused. They're like, bro, what are you doing? Like, just work from home. Or like, bro, rent it out of WeWork just so he could like pretend that he's still one of us. But yeah, so it was this very interesting sort of clear attempt to be able to continue making the kind of content that he became so popular for in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, as someone of WeWork experience, sometimes it's cool. Sometimes they have beer on tap, but I do feel for him because he really does have to do some mental gymnastics to kind of make this monumental shift in his life fit within his pre-existing brand. Previously, he would often title his videos something like Day in the Life of a Normal Guy. Like, he would always call himself a normal guy. And he can't really say that anymore because most normal guys can't quit their day job and become content creators. Mm-hmm. So now his videos are like Day in the Life of a Stay-at-Home Dad, like Candice mentioned. But then the next one is like Morning Routine of someone building his own business. Another is Morning Routine of a content creator. Like, poor Connor, that sounds like an identity crisis.
Yeah. I actually do think there is an identity crisis here. Which is, I wonder if the reason Connor rented out a WeWork allegedly after he quit his job is because he thought that his audience wanted that from him. They liked him because of the cubicle, of the laptop sliding in and out of the leather. But he didn't think maybe they like me, maybe they like my personality or what I offer to the table. And I feel like a lot of influencers, it is the opposite. They're kind of they'll follow me wherever I go, travel with me to Paris. And it's we didn't need that. We didn't need that. And I think while he's entering this identity crisis and he's kind of propping up this I'm in my stay-at-home dad era, a part of me did think, is Connor about to enter his trad wife era? Is he about to become full-on daddy influencer, taking my kid to the park? And I think there are some ways this could be good and bad, right? The bad way is that we now kind of equate him to trad wifery, and maybe there's some weird commentary there about the male role in the household domestically in 2025. A part of me also wonders, could he be the one that breaks this idea that influencing is not real work? Could he be the one that basically legitimizes the space and being look, all those stay-at-home moms you see who are influencing, they're just like me. We all pay bills. We all pay taxes. Take us seriously. And that's a pro. But I also think that's a lot of pressure to put on one guy.
Well, here's a question that would kill a Victorian child. And it is a man becoming a trad wife girl boss?
I think so. I kind of think so.
Yeah, I was raised by a stay-at-home dad, and I recommend it. I actually do. This is genuine. I think it is good overall in terms of masculinity content for him to model that. And kind of bouncing off the fact that he has a child, it does make sense as a choice to sort of work for himself because that means he could be much more available to parent this new baby. Mm-hmm. But this sort of switch from my identity was 9 to 5 and now I'm too successful for it has happened before with other creators. One of them that really comes to mind, her name's Jenna Palek. She was working at TikTok full time, but then she released this podcast sort of in 2021 in that summer. It was called Fun on Weekdays. And it was all about how people who have 9 to 5s, you shouldn't just grind through the day and then have fun on weekends. You can, enjoy life essentially, even though you have a 9 to 5. Right. She gets really popular. She quits her 9 to 5 and she becomes an independent creator. And I think that made the podcast tricky and she doesn't do it anymore. But I know that it took some adjustment for her followers to be wait, you're not really someone who can give me 9 to 5, 5 to 9 advice anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is very tricky. It's one of the hardest things, I think, as someone on the outside for influencers or content creators to navigate. People probably follow them because of one specific type of content, maybe a video or a couple of videos of theirs that blew up, that went viral. And then inevitably when people check out their profile and if they see oh, damn, that was only one of their videos and now everything else they do is completely different, they're not going to follow. So then these influencers have to kind of cater their whole page and cater their whole brand and personality around that type of thing that went most successful for them. So yeah, an example of this is if you're a cooking influencer or you want to be a cooking influencer or your cooking videos go big, but maybe actually what you really want is to be an overall fashion girly or something like that. But when people follow you for your recipes and videos of you in the kitchen making stuff, and then eventually, you want to show more of your personality and more of your fashion interests or something like that, it's hard to make that shift because people know you as one thing and they have to really love you as a person and as the whole persona than just this one facet of yourself that you packaged up for them. And of course, I am talking about Meredith Hayden with this. So Meredith Hayden, aka Wishbone Kitchen, she is a very successful TikToker, social media influencer, content creator, cookbook author, recipe developer, all the above. Mm-hmm. She got really famous because she was a private chef and she was working these super long hours in these beautiful homes in Hamptons and Martha's Vineyard for these wealthy clients. And that was just her hustling every single day. Now she's extremely successful. She, I think, bought her own multi-million-dollar house. Yeah, she's going to like fashion events in Paris and receiving the most wonderful like luxury PR packages and everything like that. And so there's been kind of a shift in her kind of content as well, from purely cooking, purely cookbooks, private chefing, to now her life in general and like her home decor and how she's going to decorate her new, multi-million-dollar house and these new bed sheets she's getting. And then here's this beautiful new designer coat that she bought in Paris and everything like that. And there's been some friction popping up because, again, that shift is very, very hard to make unless you sort of won over your audience with your whole persona and being, rather than just like, again, that one facet that went viral.
I'm waiting for it to come full circle and Meredith has a private chef of her own in the Hamptons. Like, we're not far, but I think this problem is really interesting to me because I do empathize with it because it's something only influencers deal with, which means there's really not like a playbook for it. As an influencer, even if your content isn't about your job, you're famous for some part of yourself, but people change all the time. That's like the point of living life and growing. And that's why we invented the term eras for different things. But your audience online, once you've frozen as this one specific thing in a way that's not realistic. And so it's just a real different, complicated work-life imbalance because your whole livelihood can sometimes depend on maintaining a brand that like isn't you anymore.
Yeah. And being an influencer, while it is still work, I get it. Like, it seems a lot more fun. You don't have to deal with higher ups. You don't have people telling you what to do. You kind of maintain the books. And so a part of me is like, who wouldn't turn down that opportunity?
Yeah, but then it kind of sacrifices something. This is what we touched on a little bit. And Jenny, what you wrote about in your Substack, sort of this social media relatability trap. Can you sort of explain that more broadly?
Yeah. So one of the hallmarks, I think, of becoming an influencer or a persona or brand or a celebrity, like a new kind of celebrity online, is this element of relatability. Like before, celebrities, they didn't have to be so relatable, I think. Like there was the glamour to them and how beautiful and wealthy and like what exciting lives they lived. And that was sort of their appeal. Now, like with these everyday people who are being elevated up into these positions of fame and celebrity, actually what we like about a lot of them is how we can relate to them, how they make us think kind of ourselves or of how we could be if, we only got up off our asses and like started hustling and started doing content creation or like working out or like doing something to try to move on up in the world. So many of these influencers and content creators, again, they build their brands off of this element of relatability, especially if you're going for something like where you're a regular Joe, a regular Jane working a 9 to 5. Like that's your whole brand. But then eventually, of course, this is the whole trouble with Hubs and with so many other people like him. You become successful enough that you can leave the thing that, brought you to that point that made you so relatable. And then once you're so successful, whether that's because you were able to buy a beautiful mansion in the Hamptons or you were able to quit your job or move to Paris or you're getting invited to all these designer fashion shows, like there is definitely a point of no return, or at least very hard return, where your audiences, they look at you, they look at how they think you've changed, and they're like, this guy is like not relatable anymore. Like he sold me on relatability and then he's just not this anymore. It feels like it was all a lie. It's definitely this very hard thing to navigate as someone who has to maintain that sheen of relatability to appeal to their audiences, but then also eventually how much more of yourself can you like try to fit into that one basic mold that made you famous in the first place.
And it makes me wonder, like, what if they want to go backwards? Like, what if they realize becoming a full-time content creator was a mistake? Is that even possible?
Yeah. Interestingly, Jenna Palick, who I brought up earlier, she is back working at a 9 to 5 company.
Oh.
She was an independent content creator for almost 4 years. Yes, I was on her LinkedIn. But so I don't think she'd call it a mistake. But it does speak to the point that Hubs made in my initial interview with him, which is social media is so uncertain. You're taking a big risk by putting all your eggs in that basket.
And to do it when earlier this year, we were having like panicked conversations about TikTok being banned. But it wasn't. And so like the stability of these platforms is not even that stable.
Yeah. And it still might be banned. Like, we only kick the can down the road, so.
Listen, brave is all I can say. Brave for this to be your moment to go full-time content creator. And I know that it can be so hard to have any sympathy for influencers because unless you're Connor, their job is to make their life look really glamorous and easy. But I try to kind of think about them like freelance writers. Like, obviously, you have the big ones who have no trouble getting huge bylines and other opportunities that pay really well. But I'd actually argue that most influencers who show up on our feeds are gig workers. They don't get employee-sponsored healthcare. Their pay isn't consistent. The platforms they make money on suddenly change direction or maybe get banned and then not banned and then maybe banned. Like, I don't think there's any shame in experiencing all that and going, actually, never mind. I'd like a steady salary and benefits.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, am I rooting for Hub's life? I think a little bit because first, I think like a lot of the comments he gets are a little rough and sometimes it feels like there are a lot of one-way haters. I mean, I saw one comment that was like hating from Hawaii and I was like, okay. And I think that as a frequent peruser of the anti-work subreddit, what Hubbard is doing is the dream of so many working people. You know, he had a 9-to-5 that he frankly seemed really soulless about. And then he made enough on TikTok to quit said job and pursue something that was way more autonomous and less soul-sucking for now. And especially considering that he worked at a Fortune 500 company, maybe he is more business savvy than we give him credit for. Maybe he's actually really plotted this out. He's on top of his finances. And we don't know any of those specifics or his business strategy to pass judgment on if this was a good idea or not. But I think we should give him a little credit for even making the jump and trying. Good for him.
Yeah, I could not in good conscience give anyone financial advice because I just found out what I owe in taxes. Different conversation entirely, but to kind of wrap this up, Jenny, I'd like to get your read on this trend as a whole because we talk about Wishbone Kitchen. She's someone who, like, I know there's still friction there, but for the most part kind of seems like she was able to push through it and elevate her brand in a way that was still on brand. But especially as mainstream influencer oversaturation, influencer fatigue sets in, which I do think is happening. Do you think the dream is still going to be quitting to go full-time content creation? Or do we think we'll start to see that pendulum swing back?
Yeah, I think there will always be that dream. Just like there's always going to be the dream for wannabe actors, wannabe singers, wannabe writers, wannabe artists, like anyone who kind of longs to do something else outside of the realm of the 9-to-5 or the regular job or like the working the trades or something like that. It's true that there is kind of a backlash and oversaturation and fatigue right now. And I think we're going to see more of that, especially as the economy gets worse. Like people are not going to be happy seeing, you know, others who they deem to be like privileged or wealthy or lucky kind of flaunting their fortune in their face on TikTok and other platforms. But I think generally there's always going to be a bell curve no matter what sort of industry you're talking about, whether that's content creation and influencing or becoming a YouTuber or, again, any of those things like artist or singer or the creative arts or anything like that. Most people are going to be striving somewhere in the middle, not really being able to get up there. There's always going to be a top tier of a very select few who have, quote unquote, made it, who are able to make a living, who are able to become kind of celebrities and names in their own right and support themselves and even become wealthy. But yeah, there's always going to be people sort of crawling their way up to the top, like under them. And that's just the natural order of things, I would say, like in the way that these kind of economies are set up. So it's just sort of like course correction in a way. Like there will, of course, be influencers who get knocked back down. There are going to be new influencers up there to replace them. There are going to be people who go back to their 9-to-5s. There are going to be other people who quit their 9-to-5s to pursue influencing and content creation full time. I think it's all just part of, Mother Nature in a sense. Like this is just how it works.
Mother algorithm.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And the thing is, look, I fall victim to this too. Every 5 business days, I am asking myself, should I start filming day in my life as a podcast host videos?
I mean, all of us are technically one video away at all times from our lives changing. And Candice, yes, I'd love to watch your day in the life videos. I will point out that we famously do not leave our houses.
And you know what that makes us? Relatable. Relatable. Okay, that's the show. We'll be back in your feed on Wednesday, so definitely subscribe. That way, you never miss an episode. Leave us a rating and a review in Apple or Spotify, and tell your friends about us. You can follow us on Twitter at ICYMI_pod, and you can always drop us a note at ICYMI@slate.com.
ICYMI is produced by Olivia Briley, Candice Lim, and me, Kate Lindsay. Daisy Rosario is our senior supervising producer, and Hillary Fry is Slate's editor-in-chief. See you online.
Or in Connor Hubbard's WeWork cubicle.
This episode is brought to you by Universal Pictures. Today's the day. From Universal Pictures and Blumhouse come a storm of terror from the director of The Shallows, The Woman in the Yard. Don't let her in. Where does she come from? What does she want? When will she leave? The Woman in the Yard. In theaters now.
Ahoy there!
My chute! It won't open!
Don't worry, I'm here to save you.
Thank you!
Up to 89% on the cost of your shipping with pirateship.com.
What?
Shall I take that packet?
Wait, where are you going?
To save you up to 89%. Pirateship.com will save you money on shipping. Savings vary depending on weight, dimension, season, and destination of the package.